What key marketing lessons have we learnt from 5 of our most successful client marketing campaigns that have generated over £5 million in sales, Dan?
A lot. We've learned a lot of good lessons, and I'm really excited for this value-packed episode, which is actually inspired by someone called Chris Andrade.
Oh, this is your latest love, is it?
No.
You're going to go on about him the whole episode?
No. So he actually did a post about us yesterday.
So there is a bromance.
No, can I just quickly read it to you? And I'll give you context. So he said, I don't believe experts nowadays. Anyone can just jump on and state their opinion as fact or use AI to produce something that sounds credible. Just show me that what you're doing actually works and then I'll listen. Seeing posts from people like Dan Knowlton and Knowlton is inspiring because they have proof, not just thoughts from thin air.
Nice. I did notice a typo. Did he say Dan Knowlton and Knowlton?
Yeah, I did notice he didn't say Lloyd.
He must have meant Dan Knowlton and Lloyd Knowlton, surely.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think he must have meant
No, he
that.
didn't, no. But this episode, over the last 7 years, we've run some really successful campaigns and have learned some incredibly useful lessons. And I want us to talk through not just the lessons we've learned for anchors who will gain value from that, but also share some kind of interesting backstories, insights from each of those campaigns that hopefully the anchors find interesting to listen to.
Okay. Well, I've got our first lesson, Dan.
Go on.
Would you like to hear it?
Yeah.
So, videos can be as long as they are good. As long as they are good. That sounds weird, that sentence. But the whole world and the whole marketing world at the moment is telling us that, everyone's got 3.5 second attention spans. And, on TikTok, your videos have to be 1.5 seconds long. Otherwise, people lose interest and stuff. And don't get me wrong, there's some data and there's some behavior behind that people are watching shorter form videos. I get that and I agree. That's fine. But we have worked with a large online food retailer for a number of years now. And the first thing we worked with them on, which they're still using today to sell lots of products, millions of pounds of products, we produced a story-led 7-minute video for their online ads.
7 minutes?
Yeah. And we cut it down in different segments as well that they use, sort of 1-2 minute segments. And we also produced some supporting content that were between 30 seconds and a minute long. But yes, short form video is king, but we were very creative with that video. We told a story. We made it something that was actually interesting and entertaining and informative to watch. And people have been watching it for a number of years now and buying products, and it's been returning millions of pounds of sales. So I just don't want people to blindly follow the advice of of course, videos, they've only got to be 6 seconds long now, because it's they can be as long as they are good, basically. If you've only got a minute of good stuff that's absolutely brilliant, make a minute-long video. If you've got 4 seconds of good stuff, make it a 4-second video. And if you're as good as us and you've got 7 minutes worth, make a 7-minute video.
I do think you make a good point, though. And whenever I speak to you about this, lots of people ask us, how long should my video be? And some people, when you hear other experts talk about it, they're like, it should be 23 seconds long or 15 seconds long.
Specific things.
Very specific. Yeah. But the answer is what you said, which is it should be as long as it is good. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Which makes complete sense. People aren't, watching their favorite Netflix show and after 7 seconds flicking it off because it's not good. Yeah. I know advertising is slightly different to a Netflix show, but
think
the
about
concept.
It, no, they can't be longer than 7 seconds or whatever. People binge their Netflix shows for people. Sometimes you hear stories of, I watched that for 14 hours. It was so good, and I just did 4 series or whatever. Yeah. So we've recently been working with the BBC, and there's a TikTok video on one of their channels, and it's a chase between 2 animals.
It's iconic.
Really intense.
The lizard chase.
One of their documentaries, yeah. And that's one of the best performing videos. People watch that for a long period of time because it's a captivating story of, oh my God, it's chasing it. Oh, it's going to get it. Oh, no,
good.
It's not. Oh, it's going to get it.
The snake's all chasing the lizard.
Yeah.
Surely you've seen that, Anchors.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, on exactly the same channel, there's lots of videos that are long and haven't got as many views, and there's shorter videos that haven't because they're not as good as that video, not as captivating, not as engaging, but that's a much longer video that's working on TikTok. people watch their favorite YouTubers and they watch long form videos on YouTube, you can't kind of say, oh no one, it's because no one watches this. It's like people are watching their favorite YouTubers and watching half an hour long videos.
I do at lunchtime. Literally every lunch for the last 5 years, I've watched long form YouTube videos.
So I just think sometimes in the marketing world, we use the excuse of like, oh no, of course, no one's going to watch it for longer than 7 seconds. It's like, well, hang on. Like, if it's really good, they will.
Yeah.
And there's, example in the marketing world, Red Bull, obviously they do these crazy stunts and stuff, and they have millions of people watching minutes long videos that are advertisements for Red Bull, basically. So obviously if you're like a small business or a one-man band, you're not going to be landing planes on like, I don't know, whatever, someone's head or something.
Burj Khalifa.
Yeah.
Can I give you an example outside of the marketing world?
Yes, please.
Have you ever heard of a series called Prison Break?
I have, yeah.
13 years ago, when I was in my first year of uni, I stayed in my room in halls for 3 days and didn't leave to watch the whole of Prison Break because I was that obsessed with it.
Really?
Yeah.
That is...
I just didn't go to any lectures or anything and just literally... Because for those who have watched Prison Break, it's so hooky at the end of every episode. It leaves you dangling like a, oh my God, this is going to happen.
Yeah.
And then I just became obsessed with it.
I remember one time at uni, there was a Valentine's Day where I think everyone I lived with went off with their partners. And I just stayed in my room watching films alone. I think
Funny thing is, I genuinely believe that's a true story.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Anyway.
Just one more fun fact from that shoot that's more relevant. I got to jump out of a plane on that shoot.
Yeah, that was
which was fun.
Basically, because Dan wasn't useful on the shoot and everyone else was. They're like, oh, we've got another place to jump out the plane. And Dan's basically like, oh, I had no value, guys. Can I go?
That's out of order.
Wow, that was the truth.
I was kind of there just, client relations. Also, one more fun fact just before we move on. When we were shooting on one of those locations from that shoot, Jude Law was filming in the house next door, literally on the road in Thanet where we're from.
Yeah, that was weird. There were two film crews. It just happened to be, Jude Law was out there just filming something. Obviously ours was better. But,
yeah.
Nice. Okay. So that's the first lesson. Videos can be as long as they are good. Do you want to fit me?
I'll fit you with another lesson if you want.
Do you want to hit me with another lesson, Dan?
Yeah, I'll fit you with another lesson.
Okay, thank you.
Second biggest lesson from one of our longest standing clients and on one of our most successful campaigns we've ever done is for a global personal care brand. And the lesson is to provide value up front. And I want to go into a bit of context here. So when we originally started working with this client, before they agreed to work with us, we presented to them and did a whole audit of their current marketing activity. We put a lot of resource into like analyzing everything they were currently doing and coming up with tons of suggestions for how they can improve different elements of their marketing. And we presented that to them and they were really, really impressed with that, which got us our first piece of small work.
Got our foot in the door, didn't it?
Got our foot in the door, which was small comparatively to like a big campaign, but it was supporting them with their whole digital strategy, which is with their senior leadership team, which is really cool. So we got our foot in the door by providing that value up front. I think nowadays a lot of people are not scared, but like don't want to put effort in up front. They're like, oh, well, if you want to work with me, you want to work with me, choose me or choose my competitor. But
and I think they didn't pay much for that piece of work, but we've now made over 100 times the income of that piece of work with that client.
Exactly.
Which kind of shows you, that was 100% the right thing to do to invest extra effort there.
Exactly. So we provided that value up front. We demonstrated the value we could provide in a small way. Then we did that first piece of small work and we over-delivered with that first piece of small work to really impress them, which then got our foot in the door to present how we could deliver much bigger campaigns for them throughout the year, which we won and have since been working them for like 5 or 6 years. So just goes to show like providing that value up front, especially if you're a service-based business.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, as a service-based business, you're selling a promise. I promise I can deliver this service for you that's going to achieve this thing. So, yeah.
And we're actually going further now. So, for example, that was like a small paid piece of work where we could over-deliver. Now we're actually doing a lot more before we even get paid, before clients choose to work with us. I think just as we're getting a bit bigger as a business and, the economy's not as good in the UK, all businesses are having to do more to win business. So we're doing even more. I think the hard thing is people like putting more effort in up front. If you put loads of effort in before you've won any business, if you don't win the business, your business isn't viable, because you're like, I'm spending 90% of my time on trying to win business and I'm not making any money. But I've got a little Lloyd equation for you, Dan,
yes,
to help you.
Let's do this. So is it, sorry, just to clarify for anchors, is this to help anchors figure out how much time and stuff they should be putting in up front? Is it that kind of thing?
Anchors, someone comes to you and says, I might want to work with you. And you're thinking, how much time and effort or money or resource shall I put into this before I know I've actually won the work?
Yeah.
That's what we work
Cool.
on. Okay.
Yeah. I'm interested. Go.
So I'll go through the...
what are we branding this
the
as?
equation.
Is this let's
call it the Lloyd Knowlton value, the Lloyd Knowlton maximum upfront work value matrix.
Catchy.
Yeah. 2023.
Okay, go on then.
Okay. So I'll give the equation, then I'll give detail and examples. Yeah. So the value of the opportunity divided by your average conversion rate equals the real value of that opportunity. So, say an opportunity comes along. I want to work with you. I might want to work with you on this project for £100,000. Just using numbers that will be easy to divide and stuff. And you're like, well, that sounds good. I know my conversions rate is 10%. So 10% of 100,000 is £10,000. So the real value of that opportunity on average is £10,000 of that opportunity. On average, that's what it's going to be worth. You with me there?
I'm with you, yeah.
Okay. And then the real value of the opportunity, £10,000, multiply... Doesn't help being concise when you can't talk. Multiplied by your profit margin equals the maximum upfront work you can viably do upfront. So the real value of the opportunity was £10,000, we said. You can multiply that by say your profit margin is 20%. That's £2,000. So basically, on that, an average opportunity that comes your way in your business of £100,000, an average one's going to be worth £2,000 profit to your business. So if I spend any more than £2,000 up front in resources, I'm going to be losing money on an average deal like this. So you might then say, okay, well, if I put 3 days of work into this and each day I'm going to give myself 150 quid, whatever it is. Okay, I'm putting £450 into that. And I know that on average, that's going to still leave me with lots of profit at the end of an average thing. So value of the opportunity divided by your conversion rate equals the real value of the opportunity. And then real value of opportunity multiplied by your profit margin equals the maximum upfront work viable for you to deliver.
Can I add a spanner in the works?
Yeah, go on.
No, not a spanner. It's more from a sales perspective, something else that needs to be sprinkled on top of that equation.
Yeah. What's this called then? The Dan Knowlton sprinkle.
The Dan Knowlton sales sprinkle.
Okay, yeah.
Which is intuition. I think this equation is a really good base point, but also, you said average conversion rate. Once you understand the context of, so we when we're qualifying, we use something called means, authority, need. Means, do they have the budget? Authority, are you speaking to the decision maker? Need, how much need do they actually have to solve this problem soon? So if you're looking at an opportunity and they've said, we've got all the budget, it's all signed off, it's ready to go. I am the decision maker. I run this company or own this company, or I will make the decision. And they're saying, this is a huge issue right now that we need solving. Then I would add my sprinkle of intuition and think that conversion rate is probably likely to be higher than 10%. So I'd potentially increase that.
So
for
the
that.
Dan Knowlton sprinkle, maybe you'd take out the average conversion rate and put your expected conversion rate. So it might be like, I think there's 30% chance this will convert. And then
that's a good point. Yeah.
So the Dan Knowlton sprinkle could adapt that.
Yeah. That's a really good equation, though. Like it, Lloyd. Very good. Moving on to our next lesson.
Yes.
Which is...
boring businesses don't have to be boring. I really feel passionately about this. And this lesson is kind of, we really learnt this lesson from working with a health and safety sort of manufacturer and retailer.
Sounds boring.
Yeah, they're lovely guys that work for them and everything, lovely people, but obviously it doesn't sound the most glamorous business. And I think people are often tempted, like if people think they're working for a boring business, it's quite tempting to kind of go, well, our stuff's boring, our marketing's gonna have to be boring. And like it kind of makes logical sense of like, well, we're not gonna make health and safety sexy, are we? But the reality is boring marketing doesn't work.
Yeah,
it's not like, oh, we've got a boring business, so match out with boring marketing. If you don't get attention by being interesting or entertaining or informative or whatever, it's not going to work. So it just doesn't make any sense. And we created entertaining, relatable content for the target market that our client was going for, and we got attention, engagement, £1 million lead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What was that? Sorry, £1 million lead. Yeah.
A lead that converted into £1 million contract.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Sorry. God, made it sound shitter than it was. And that resulted in real money in the pockets of the business owners in this business. That's a massive win. And I think so. These guys took the risk of thinking, let's do something a bit creative with Knowlton, and let's go for it. And it paid off. And I think more and more people should do that and not just think, well, we sell staples, so we just have to do the most boring marketing.
I think the key takeaway here for anchors listening is, if your marketing looks like all of your competitors, you're doing it wrong. Like that should be the big eye opener. And I speak to especially marketers and founders from, I guess, inverted commas, more boring businesses. A lot of them, the way they speak is like, yeah, in our industry, we do a white paper and we do this and we do that. And that's just what we do. And it's like, I get that can work to an extent, but what if you did push the boat out and try something different, and your ideal customers saw that in their social feed compared to a standard like white paper? It's going to stand out, isn't it? So yeah, try something new. Stop being boring.
Yeah. Also, not doing boring marketing, you're actually going to be remembered. So if someone doesn't convert tomorrow, they're likely to come back in a year's time, and when they think, oh, who provides those toilet rolls that are really good, they're going to remember you because you created a good video. Or if they're like, oh, that stationery supplier, I remember, I saw them, and that you're going to be who they remember. So just really want to put it out there. If you're working for one of those businesses and you kind of see it as boring, like, oh, of course I can't do anything creative. I just want to say you can, and you probably should.
And you were doing something creative on the shoot, weren't you, Lloyd? A minute ago, you said to me on the shoot for the food retailer that I wasn't adding much value. Let's just tell the anchors on this particular shoot for this health and safety company, what was your key role in the shoot, Lloyd?
There was one role at about 5 a.m. I had to sit at the end of a road and with a radio, and when a bin lorry was coming, I had to say, a bin lorry's coming. So
and we'll leave it there, shall we?
Yeah. But it's worth it, wasn't it? £1 million. So
yeah, it did work, to be fair.
Yeah, I'll do it again. Next lesson, Dan.
Adapt or die.
Die. Sorry. Oh, not a question.
So this is a lesson from. I don't like to have favourites, and I'm not going to say who the client is. I'll give you context.
Oh, sorry. I thought it was one of these.
No. It's not one of the people on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
This is one of my favourite clients that we've been working with for a number of years now. And it's a UK-based food brand that we've been working with. And the key lesson I've learned over the last few years is to adapt or die. So originally, this brand came to us with the objective of getting stocked in a top 5 UK supermarket. So they had no online brand presence. They wanted to create a real buzz around the brand. And we had to devise a strategy to help them reach millions of people and create a real buzz that they could present to the supermarket. Say, look, people care about our brand. You should stock us. And originally, we were utilizing Facebook and Instagram to produce really creative campaigns that generated millions of views online. Now, that was all really great at one point, and it was working very well, and the customer was really happy. Eventually, it started to get more expensive to advertise on Facebook and Instagram. And when we were presenting to the board all of the results, the graph, although we were still generating millions of views, was going down slightly because it was getting more and more expensive with the same budget. And we were like, yes, this is happening. So we didn't just accept that. we presented a new plan to shift the focus to short form vertical video platforms like TikTok and Instagram, where it was cheaper to reach the same kind of audiences. And from January to April this year, we generated over 10 million TikTok video views and 200,000 likes, comments, and shares. And last year we helped them to get stocked in Lidl. And the reason this has gone so well is because we made that decision to innovate and change rather than just being like, that's what happens. It gets more expensive.
What I think is great as well, this is a fairly traditional sort of old school business, and they've had the most successful marketing sort of campaign of their history, I think, this year, because they were happy to adapt and they're happy to try vertical video and TikTok. And I suppose we've built up the trust over the years, so they trusted in us to try something new. I suppose maybe if it was the first year, they wouldn't have done that. But I want to read some comments from TikTok, just so you can get an idea of doing this sort of thing, what you can get, okay? Can I get an apple, please? Thank you, I'm on my way. This account should be verified. Lol, best company on TikTok so far. I have these apples at home. I love those apples. Best thing ever. I have your apples, they're amazing. Probably the best apples. Lol, best company on TikTok so far. I want one now and I don't have them. Now... apples have TikTok. You and Duolingo should collab. Can't believe they haven't verified you. My mum says the only brand of apples she will eat is Cameo because she says it brings out the energy in her. I'm currently eating your amazing apples. So I won't tell you what brand that was for. But I just think... like, so just to give you a few stats, these guys got over 10 million views in a period of 3 to 4 months, I think it was. Went from a new TikTok account to over 10,000 followers. I think it was 12, 13,000, something like that. And most importantly, they actually had people saying, I'm going to go to the shop and buy your apples. And they had people commenting saying, I've just been to the shop and bought the apples. They're so good. Like, this is like not just because I understand sometimes when you can say things like 10 million TikTok views, some people might be like, well, that's not worth anything. And I think it's important to know, no, like this made real things happen in the real world, real money being spent in supermarkets on these products. Yeah. And then people going online and going, so yeah.
Another tip that I realized when you were talking about, they really let us be creative and they trusted us. I think for any anchors listening who are like marketers or founders or anyone listening who hires marketing agencies, my number one piece of advice would be to let them be creative. Like, don't put red tape around them to try and be like, yeah, we want you, but within these kind of standards. But it's similar to like when working with influencers. You don't want to hire someone who's known for being really creative in one area and then basically constricting them to only do things in a certain way. So yeah, that's something with our most successful campaigns, the client has always allowed us to be creative and not kind of held us back too much.
This lesson is sponsored by Knowlton. Knowlton offer marketing support like this from just £2,000 a month. Achieve results like Cameo. Over 10 million views on TikTok. Over 10,000 followers from zero in just 3 months. And most importantly of all, get real people spending real money and buying your real products and services. And then bragging about it to others online. Start a conversation today.
What the fuck was that? I didn't know you were going to do that. What is that?
No, that wasn't just me. That was just a sponsored bit, I think.
Oh, God. Honestly, you confused me so much.
That was a voiceover guy just saying like stuff about Knowlton.
I love it that you've added that in. I didn't even know that. Moving on to our final lesson, Lloyd.
Yeah, that's mental, wasn't it?
Oh, come on, Lloyd. Hit us with the final lesson. What can the anchors learn from one of our successful?
This is really important. I think big lessons to be learnt right now. Sorry, I'll stop being a dick. This is actually good.
Yeah, go on.
Testing and variety in content is vital in 2023. So this is based on a graphic design company we've been working with for a number of years now. Interesting story. The actor that we used in the first campaign also played Jafar in a Aladdin panto I went to 2 years earlier, and my son loved it.
I'm loving the fun facts.
So yeah, we originally worked with this company on a campaign, their kind of first, I think their first sort of try on social ads and see if they can get customers that way. And we kind of gradually changed how we were working together, and we now create content for them every single month that they feed into their social ads strategy, basically. So that's new content being shown to potential customers and converting customers every single month. You're smirking at me. Is something funny?
I was still thinking about that part where you did an ad. Sorry,
Cool.
carry on. Carry on.
But the amazing thing with this and the success that this company are finding is if you have a constant flow of new creative ads to put into your kind of funnel of social ads, so every single month or, week by week, what they're doing is improving their results constantly. So they've got a set of ads. There's going to be some really high performers there, and they're going to keep using those. There's going to be some lower performers. They'll get rid of them. And then the next week, they're given more content to test, and they'll just keep the top performers, get rid of the lowest performers. So you're constantly putting better and better performing ads into your kind of funnel of ads that you're using, and you're getting rid of the worst ones. So constantly improving the return you're getting on your investment. And the other benefit of that is you're also learning from what's working and what's producing results. And then when you create more content, you can use that. So we've got a really good relationship with this client, and we create all the content for them, but we use their guidance and their plans of what they want to create. So they send it over and we go for it. So they're looking at what's worked, and then we're improving the content we're creating. And it's this constant cycle of improving their marketing, improving their content, and improving the return they're getting, which I think is amazing. And it sounds so simple when you're like, hang on, if you continuously create more and only keep the best and gradually get rid of the worst performers, the results are going to continue to get better.
I think this is a mistake brands make sometimes, is putting all their eggs in one basket. I think you may think you know what your audience is going to respond to, but until you try and test different things, it's not going to work. We've spoken about this before with TikTok content. The way you have success with TikTok content is trying and testing enough different styles of content until something works, and then emulate that success. It's the same with all marketing. You need to try and test a variety of things before just guessing I think that's going to work. You need to actually put it out and let the data decide.
And that's some of our biggest successes we've had with clients that we work on retainers with that start at £2,000 a month. There can be more, but it's we work with them on an ongoing basis, and we're constantly learning, constantly creating better and better stuff for them, and the results constantly get better. And I think it's something that's really undervalued, especially with vertical video platforms and TikTok, Instagram Reels and stuff. You can really learn quickly and improve quickly by adapting. I think some more traditional agencies come up with a strategy, and there's our 12-month strategy, right?
Yeah.
Stick to that. And that I'm sorry, but that just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. Things change so quickly.
You can't get optimum results by doing that now. You have to constantly adapt, constantly learn, and improve your plans, change your plans. This lesson was it's not sponsored by anyone. Nice
lessons, Lloyd. I hope anchors have enjoyed this. I really enjoyed prepping for this one because it made us think about real examples of campaigns you've run and the lessons we've learned, and some fun facts as well. So
we've actually learned quite a lot, haven't we?
Yeah.
I suppose when you do something for years, it's hard not to, really.
Yeah. If you've enjoyed this, anchors, please do leave us a review. It really helps. We haven't had that many reviews lately, and we really need you to give us a review, so please.
Everyone always comments on our videos and says in person, "Oh, your podcast is so good." I had a tree surgeon come to my house yesterday and said, "Oh, I love your podcast." I was thinking, didn't write a review, did you, mate?
Should have done.
Yeah, should have done. So if you could review, that would be lovely.
And I guess after you've done your review, we'll
see you in your ears next week.